Hello, this video is shout out to King Joe, one of the other YouTuber that I saw love and enjoyed and collect treasuries. Give you a quick story about Treasury. I have no idea what they were, never even heard of them, and certainly haven't seen them. From 2003 through 2009, early 2009, I was really out of the hobby. I certainly did not buy one book in those span of almost 6 years. I was busy with life, getting married, having kids. But there's other things in life that was more important at the time, and I just didn't really have time or patience to deal with the hobby. Actually, one of these days I will go into the reason why I left in 2003. It was not a fun event in my life, but there was a catalyst that got me to throw up my hands and walk away in 2003. When I left in 2003, I have 2 slabs. Okay, that's it. That's all the graded CGC book that I have. And then when I returned in 2009, I went crazy submitting many of my books to get slabbed, as well as buying a lot of slabs. This went on for about maybe the first 6 months in 2009, and then one of my friends noticed that I have a lot of high grade books, as well as a good eyes on spotting good books. So he asked me if I have any treasuries for sales, and I was kind of stumped with the question because I don't know what he was talking about. Treasury? What the heck is that? So I went on and did some research on what they were, and I love them. I will put a link below to this video on a website that will tell you just about everything and anything you need to know on treasury books. But it took practically 2 or 3 years, I guess, all the way until maybe 6 months ago before I almost finished. I'm missing one book of my treasury, of my Marvel treasury runs. As you can see, I pulled out the first 7 books here. These books are just gorgeous. As with most books I bought, I spent a lot of time, bought a lot of bad stuff, but in time, with some patience, I was able to get the best copy that I can find, and most of them went for fairly reasonable money. I mean, these books are not crazy expensive if you keep your eyes out on eBay or get lucky. I got lucky on many of these books. I didn't spend a lot of money to get them. Certainly not the high price that some people had on eBay. But here's number 1. This was the last book that I had to find to complete my run from 1 through 28. Marvel did issue a lot more than 28 books, but as far as a series, they did go from 1 to 28, and then they have many other one-shot titles, as well as a series on the Star Wars, but I will talk about those in a different video. For now, I'm just going to go from 1 through 7, and if people like, I probably can go all the way from 8 to 28 in another video or videos. But this is my number 1. What's neat about Treasury for me is once I lay my hands on them, I love them. Even though they are big, they are solid. I mean, it's hard to store these books to keep them in great shape, but if you find the right collector that bought these, you can get some really beautiful books. As you can see right here, this book is just stunning, gorgeous, and I love them. I think what changed with me as far as slabbing and buying slab books was the moment I start collecting these books and really enjoy flipping through them and look at the stories and art. I slowly changed my view on what I want to collect. That was a moment that I decided that I prefer to keep my book raw and keep on buying raw books because it's a lot more fun to flip through them instead of buying slab and just look at them in the plastic. As you all know by now, these treasuries contain reprints mostly, and it's great. These are almost a full-size original art where things were drawn back in the old days. So it's a lot of fun to flip through them and see art in a big size. What I want to point out is this issue here. This is a reprint of Spider-Man 42, and what's interesting about this issue is it's one of the very early work of John Romita, okay? And for those that don't have this book or are not familiar with John Romita early Marvel book, when he first joined Marvel, his first 3 or 4 issues of Spider-Man, he tried to look like Ditko, because Ditko was so successful and so loved. If you read through issue 39, 40, 41, 42, for example, you see a lot more Ditko-like style. As you can see right there, even Spider-Man, he is still fairly skinny, but certainly there's some meat to the bone. But look at this picture. That is a Ditko kind of drawing. So as you can see, as you flip through this, you see a lot of Ditko-esque kind of style, as you can see right there. Before he slowly emerged into his own style. I mean, it's I love John Romita style. I think it's great. I think for me, he's the essential Spider-Man artist. I know a lot of fans regard Ditko as the man, but for me, something about John Romita to me is the man for Spider-Man. I mean, his work for the Silver Age Spider-Man are just phenomenal. They are really good, and like this issue is okay. You can see some of his style coming through, but for the most part, it's still Ditko-esque. Let me flip through the end to show you my favorite panel right here. I mean, one thing about John Romita, I think from the very beginning, the way he draw, Mary Jane, it's just very cute. I have to say that, who would not love that picture? That is one perfect panel. I mean, if there is one picture of Mary Jane where any Mary Jane fan will recognize, it's this one right here. It's just beautiful, great work. But as you can see, the look, the face of Peter Parker, slowly changing. It's not as skinny. It starts to get more rounded, but so I'm very happy that John Romita eventually found his own style and become what he is today. Definitely one of the legend. Here's number 2. This book is just gorgeous also. a tough book to find in really high condition, just because it's, you know, have a white cover. Over the years I bought 2 or 3 copies and they're all dirty or got foxing or all kind of problem, but I think I spent the most money on this copy right here because it was just so hard to find in high grade that I eventually gave up. Also this one, great looking book, and if you haven't read through this book or have a chance to look through them, I highly recommend buying them because you can see great Kirby drawing in larger size. It's in this issues right here. It's really good stuff. I mean, you know, right here, look at this big splash page. If you're a Kirby fan, you'll be loving it. But I think if I had to pick one favorite, is issue number 4. It's my number 4. Very similar to the Fantastic Four issue number 2, due to the white cover. It's also very hard to find a nice clean copy. Often they are yellow and dingy. This one is perfectly white. I actually bought this copy along with number 2 from the same seller. He has some awesome looking Treasury. This is probably one of my favorite because it give me the chance to take a look at the great, gorgeous work by Barry Windsor Smith. You know, his work on, of course, Conan is widely known, but to be able to enjoy them in such grand fashion like this, what a beautiful panel that is. It's really, you know, great. I mean, if I had to pick one book that I would tell people to go buy out of all the Treasuries, I would say get the Conan, because it's the best bang for the buck, because the artwork inside is just in great details. If you're not a Barry Windsor Smith fan, I think going through this book you will be, because he's just awesome. I mean, this, you know, there's not much to complain about this book. And then you have number 5. Here's my copy. Sharp looking book. Number 6 is pretty good too. You know, if you are a fan of Doctor Strange. This one, here's my copy. It's an awesome Frank Bruner artist. There's a lot of good artists that worked on Doctor Strange, or even in Strange Tales. Of course, you know, a lot of people identify Steve Ditko with Doctor Strange. Is in many of the content of this Treasury, but I can tell you, Steranko also do a lot of great work with Doctor Strange. I probably will do a separate videos about Steranko and his works on Strange Tales, because his work on Strange Tale is really good. But this book has the great Bruner arts in it, as well as, you know, Steranko and Steve Ditko. But here's Frank Bruner. Frank Bruner is really probably the best fit to do Doctor Strange, in my opinion. So let's take a look at this gorgeous page. It is really nice, but definitely one of the better Treasury. And then you have number 7, the last one for this video. It's the Avengers. A nice book. You know, I don't think you know, there's anything special about it. You know, there are, of course, great John Buscema art inside. Just look at this double spread. The eyes just pulled out and flip through real quick. Gorgeous. if you're a Avengers fan, you definitely should be the big John Buscema fan, because his work with the Avengers are legendary, no doubt. Good stuff. But there's a lot of good arts in here. A lot of it to do with John Buscema. So, I highly recommend this one too. It's a fun read. Anyone that want to read the reprint, they certainly put in good content in these books. So it's not as if they didn't pick good story to reprint them in these books. So I think if you're a fan of classic artists, good arts, good story, get the Treasuries. They are fun to read. Thanks for watching.